Hi everyone, I'm Stu.
I'm Sarah. Welcome back to the 350 bird challenge.
We're into mid-March now. Some of the birds have started to arrive. Already here, red-winged blackbirds. We'll show you that in a second. Let's roll the intro. Hi everyone, welcome back. Sarah, where are we this morning?
We are at the Royal Botanical Gardens Arboretum in Hamilton.
You can already hear red-winged blackbirds. They're back. Yes, it's spring. I just spent a moment or two filming some of those, so that's a new bird that we get to count for the year. Woohoo! Good start to the video. We're actually here to see tufted titmouse, hopefully. I came here with Jason quite a few weeks back now to get it, but Sarah hasn't seen it yet, so we need to get Sarah's eyes on that so that we can count it. Let's go take a look, see if we can find that and any other new birds. We're expecting to find a few today. It's been a couple of weeks since we did any filming, and migration is underway, thank goodness. Let's go. We're beginning this video in Hamilton, Ontario, at the Arboretum part of the Royal Botanical Gardens, and we're walking along the nearby trails in search of the tufted titmouse. We'll also be hoping for plenty more new birds in this video as spring migration begins and we shift towards warmer weather. Here's a bird we'll be hearing a lot through the next several months, the song sparrow, a little bit obscured in the reeds here. A chipmunk watched on as we advanced through the woods. A few common species were around, a pair of white-breasted nuthatch, and close views of a red-bellied woodpecker. As this bird stretches upwards, you can just make out some of the red coloration that the bird is named for, low down on the belly between its legs. Well, we're just coming to a lookout area ahead on the trail where we know the birds are a little bit more tame. We showed this in a previous video with me and Jason. We just hope that the tufted titmouse is going to show up while we're in that vicinity. Up on the platform, we had a look out over the valley. Even closer looks at another white-breasted nuthatch, looking for treats, no doubt. And another red-winged blackbird. They can be pretty territorial, and this one was dominating the platform area, but despite this, thankfully, we did see a tufted titmouse. This one showed up at distance, but Sarah was having trouble spotting it. Did you see it? Top left of the furthest away bush. It eventually came closer, and we watched as it removed a black-oiled sunflower seed cached in a crevice of this log. Okay guys, it's starting to rain, but we did get views of the tufted titmouse. Not the best views, but good enough for us to count it. We're going to take shelter in the tree cover now before we get soaking wet. Not going to make you follow us through the trees though, back to the car and all that. I'm going to cut away to something that we filmed a few days ago. There's a northern hawk owl in southern Ontario. It's getting a lot of attention though, so I didn't film a lot around that. Just the actual bird itself and a little bit of talking. So anyway, let's cut away to that. Northern hawk owl, lifer, awesome bird. Let's go see. Hi everyone, we're in a location in central Ontario where there have been reports of a northern hawk owl, and I'm pleased to say that we were able to see it. It's probably one of our favourite lifers. This was my second time seeing the northern hawk owl. This time I brought Sarah with me so that we could count it for the bird challenge. On this occasion it was a little distant and had its back to us a lot of the time, but at least Sarah got to see it and we could count it. But on the occasion that I came up a few days earlier while Sarah was stuck at work, here it was, nice and close, much better views. Such an awesome bird. One that can be tough to find further south in Ontario, where you have to rely on eruptive years where a few individuals will travel further south. With its sleek profile and piercing yellow eyes, it looks every bit the predator, scanning the landscape below for the slightest movement. Unlike most owls, this one hunts in the daylight. I watched the hawk owl for about 10 minutes before it flew off to a higher perch. What an awesome bird, Sarah. What did you think of the northern hawk owl?
Really cool to see, understand where it gets its name from. It does have the kind of hawky looking face. So yeah, really nice to see it, and I'm glad it got to come up here before it left.
Favourite lifer of the year?
Oh, yeah, probably. Yeah, gotta give it to it.
Okay guys, thanks for watching this part of the video. Let's go back to the other bit. Back at the Royal Botanical Gardens, the rain hammered down. We got caught in a thunderstorm and got absolutely soaked. Oh well, these showers will soon bring us some spring flowers. We moved on. Well guys, on the one side we got absolutely soaking wet. On the other hand, I'm wearing my tufted titmouse t-shirt to celebrate. We've moved on. What's the name of this area, Sarah?
We're in Flamborough.
There have been reports of a red-headed woodpecker here, a juvenile, hanging out in the tree line by the side of the road. We haven't been able to find it yet. We had a look out in a marsh. There's some swans and other geese out there, common stuff. And then we moved on a little bit to a kind of a flooded field, which is just behind the camera now, and we got ring-necked duck. That was a bit of a bonus. Weren't really looking for that, but we'll take it. We're going to continue looking for this red-headed woodpecker for a little bit longer, but it's mostly residential, so it's a little bit tricky to find it, but we'll give it a try. Enjoying the shallow waters of this flooded field, a new bird for the year. The ring-necked ducks, as mentioned. A little bit distant here, but here's a photo of a male-female pair. This was taken a couple of days later when I was out birding after work one afternoon. You rarely get to see the ringed neck, so they're best identified by the two white rings around the beak, one near the end and one where it joins the face. This helps to differentiate it from the similar looking scaup ducks. We took a look into some flooded fields for any fancy waterfowl, and we searched around for the red-headed woodpecker. Okay guys, I think we're going to give up on this red-headed woodpecker. It seems to me like it may have been a chance sighting. Everyone saw it 2 days ago. I think because we're in the area where there was also a probably departed greater white-fronted goose, people may have also just happened to have seen the red-headed woodpecker. Not really any sign of it, but not the best spot either. Now's maybe a good time for us to take a break. Sarah and I maybe will grab a coffee and we'll be back in a bit. We'll see if we can find some new birds somewhere else. Stay tuned. See you in a sec. We went for a quick lunch, but upon our return, the day was a bit of a washout with the weather. We're going to have to take a break here, and we'll come back and do some more birding from the following weekend. Okay guys, after getting rained off, fast forward 1 week, it's the 23rd of March. We've come to Lynn Shores just to try to pick up a few more of those common species, get those ticked off our list. What are we hoping for, Sarah? Grackle?
Grackle, the brown-headed cowbirds have been reported. There have been reports of some ducks that were missing, like a blue-headed teal, and northern pintail, but those are maybe less likely.
We're also hoping for a white-crowned sparrow. There's 2 individuals that have been sighted at Lynn Shores over the course of the last few weeks. A juvenile one and an adult one that has more kind of crisp white colouring in the crown. Anyway, let's go. Let's see if we can add a few more of the birds that have migrated in over the last few weeks. We trudged into Lynn Shores. We haven't visited this spot as much lately, but there's often something good to see here, even if it's just a close encounter with one of the deer ladies. On the bird front, I quickly spotted one of the white-crowned sparrows, new bird. This one is the juvenile. It proudly carried around half a peanut that Jason had thrown to it. We got red-winged blackbird in our last video, but the females usually arrive later, and so this is our first sighting of one of the ladies. Another new bird, common grackle. It's another of the early spring migrants arriving here. These ones are far away, but it's yet another new bird for us. It's the brown-headed cowbird. There's 3 of them in this tree, with a blackbird above them. We decided to have a look out of Lind Creek on the off chance that there might be some interesting waterfowl out there, down towards the water's edge, mostly Canada geese in the distance. But then Jason spotted something peculiar. It's towards the centre of this shot, but blocked by Canada geese. Eventually it moved, and here it is again, in the centre, moving left. Do you see it? We made a dash outside Linshaw's towards Victoria Street, and from here we got a slightly closer view of the mystery goose. Regular viewers of this channel may remember that Jason and I saw this weird hybrid goose at the end of last year in a nearby location. It's a snow goose, Canada goose hybrid. We actually do need snow goose for our count, but according to our rules, hybrids don't count. Still, it's a cool sighting though. While we were there, Sarah spotted something else.
It looks like half the size of the other geese.
This diminutive looking Canada goose is actually a cackling goose, and yet another new bird. We made our way back into Lind Shores and the Chickadee Trail, where I suddenly heard an unusual bird song. This hefty, rusty-coloured sparrow is a new bird, a nice fox sparrow here. An uncommon sighting, hopping up into the tangled brush, perching long enough to take a look around before disappearing again back into the thicket. A brief encounter, but an enjoyable one. Remember the juvenile white-crowned sparrow from before? Here's an adult with those lovely, crisp black and white head stripes in this pleasing shot. Like the fox sparrow, this bird is often seen scratching away on the ground, but here it is, posing atop a weathered tree stump. We came, we saw, we conquered. Pretty good. 5 new species, right, Sarah? Your highlight?
Probably the fox sparrow. I think it's one of the prettier sparrows.
Much larger than the other sparrows around it, but we did also get good looks at the adult white-crowned in the end as well, after initially just seeing the juvenile, so that was pretty cool, and a nice isolated shot with it perched on top of that tree stump. We're with Jason and Spring, and Jason has a lead on a pretty cool spot a bit further north in Durham region on Lake or Scugog River, so we're going to go and check that out next. We made our way to Jason's place and decided to carpool. We'll see you shortly in Jason's truck. Back on the road again towards our next stop. We began our day at Lind Shores in Whitby. And now we're heading north towards a stretch of the Scugog River at the private residence of a relative of Jason and Spring, so I can't say exactly where, but we're not too far from the small town of Little Britain. On the way, we checked the farm fields and telephone lines. And here's why we checked them. On the way to the property, I spotted this American kestrel. We're having a pretty good day so far for new birds. Upon our arrival, we checked out the river. There wasn't a huge variety of species, mostly common mergansers.
Have you ever seen so many common mergs?
Also, common goldeneye, trumpeter swans, hooded mergansers, and a few redheads flew past. 3 very distant bald eagles, and plenty of other common species. There sure were a lot of waterfowl out there. We were secretly hoping for a northern pintail, or there had been a lone Eurasian widgeon that had been reported yesterday, but no joy on either of those 2 species. After a last little look around, we hopped back into the truck. We tried a few spots around Lake Scugog where agricultural fields had flooded, looking for any birds we could add to our list. We began at Settlers Road and this flooded field. Okay guys, our good morning continues, but we've now come to the Kawarthas area. Reports of a snow goose. There's a bunch of flooded fields with a thin layer of ice on top. There's tons of Canada geese out there. I'm trying to pick out, see if we can find anything that looks like a white goose.
Killdeer.
We pretty quickly got our eyes on several killdeers. These have been arriving in the last couple of weeks. We then began scanning through hundreds and hundreds of Canada geese with a few gulls mixed in. We searched for a while in chilly conditions when suddenly I saw a white goose fly into the flock of Canada geese. Is it the Rosses or is it the snow goose?
I can't tell that well. You've got a better sight than me for that. Jason, do you have it?
Unfortunately, both Ross's goose and snow goose have been reported here, and at this kind of distance, with so much atmospheric haze affecting the image, discerning which species this is tough. We looked for ages, and we were leaning towards snow goose. Another birder turned up and he had a scope elevated up onto the back of his truck, which eliminated some of the atmospheric haze. He allowed me to look, and this was clearly a snow goose, so we're counting it. One more bird to tell you about at this location, a fairly early arriving greater yellowlegs. A few more birds in the bag, we moved on once more, scanning any fields for large flooded areas that might be hiding some interesting birds. Okay guys, a good few species at that first stop. We've come a little bit further down the road with hopes of northern pintail and tundra swan, and I'm pleased to say that we see some tundra swans, a little bit hazy in the distance, but that's another new bird. It's a very productive day so far. I think we're going to see if we can get another angle on this flooded field to see if there's any ducks hidden down behind a ridge. Stay tuned, back in a sec.
Yeah, it's definitely a tundra.
Here's the best view we got of the tundra swans. This one, moving to the left, has fairly clearly visible yellow colouring near the beak. We examined the field for a while, but aside from the tundra swans it was just ring-billed gulls and mallards. We drove around the side of the flood and got a closer look from another road at a killdeer on the mud. Back searching from the vehicle, we checked field after flooded field, but we didn't find any of the northern pintails that had been recently reported. We did see a couple of raptors. Turkey vulture is another new bird for the year. And we've already seen northern harriers, but we did get a decent view of one flying alongside us.
It's a grey ghost.
It is a grey ghost.
Our luck with hitting upon new birds seemed to be drying up by the afternoon, after also failing to find eastern meadowlarks. Jason had seen some on a recent solo birding trip here, but today was much colder, maybe they were hunkered down. We decided to hit the highway back towards the GTA. Things have quietened down a little bit this afternoon, so we decided to head back into southern Durham region, back towards Lake Ontario, and here we are at Thixon Woods. Reports of a brown creeper, fairly common bird generally speaking, but one that we haven't seen yet, so we thought we'd take a quick look for that through the woods. Let's have a walk around here. We had a wander around the woods and the lakefront, but there was little of note and no new birds. I did spot this kinglet flitting around high above us. We still need ruby-crowned kinglet. I watched this one for a while as it continued to refuse to show us its head to help us ID which kinglet it was, but I did eventually see that it was unfortunately a golden-crowned kinglet, which we already have. Well guys, no brown creeper, but an otherwise excellent day. It's not very often you add that many birds to a day's birding. It's put us in good stead as we head towards the end of March. That does us for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please hit the like button. Please also leave us a comment. And Sarah?
If you haven't already, please subscribe, and after subscribing, if you select the bell, you'll get a notification of new videos.
Once again guys, thanks for watching. We'll be back as soon as we can. A few family issues at the moment if we're a bit quiet on social media and the videos aren't quite as regular, but hopefully we'll be back into our regular routine soon. See you soon, happy birding, bye for now.
Bye!